سلام میکنم دوستان عزیز، به این وبینار خوش اومدید. این وبینار درباره فیلدهای مدیکال و پزشکی هستش، همچنین درباره داروسازی و بیشتر در زمینه رشته‌هایی که برای پزشکی هستش در آمریکا، رفتن به دانشگاه پزشکی در آمریکا هستش. ما در این وبینار خانم راین کلمنت رو داریم که ازشون درخواست کردیم که به این وبینار بیان شرکت کنم و به ما بیشتر توضیح بدن. خانم راین از کیک گریجویت اینستیتوت هستن، مخففش هستش KGI، از کلرمانت کالیفرنیا هستن. خانم راین به ما بیشتر توضیح میدن درباره رشته‌های مختلف تحصیلی در زمینه پزشکی در medical school در آمریکا. Thank you so much again, Ryan, for joining us for this webinar. Why don't you go ahead and if you'd like to introduce yourself and what you do at KGI.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for having me. Again, my name is Ryan Clement, and I'm a recruitment coordinator for the Keck Graduate Institute, located in Claremont, California. And my role within the Keck Institute is to work with students who are interested, both domestic students here in the U.S. and also international students who are interested in applying to our various graduate programs that we offer, which would include programs in the life sciences, biotechnology, business of bioscience, and as well as pharmacy. So I answer students' questions. I work with EdUSA advisors on applications, answering questions, as well as working with colleges and universities directly with faculty and administrators as well on answering questions about our application as well as our curriculum. So I'm here today to talk to you and talk to you about the application process for students who are interested in applying to graduate programs in the life sciences, biotechnology, medicine, as well as pharmacy. And if at any point I maybe addressed something that you had a question on, you can feel free to email me. I can make my email address available to you so you can contact me directly if it's a question that we don't address during the presentation. So the topics that we're talking about, they are large topics, and we could probably talk for hours about each of them. But what I'm going to do is kind of generalize the discussion a bit to talk really about the admissions process and what colleges and universities are looking for in terms of applicants as well as admissions materials. And then I can also touch briefly on scholarship information. Now that will vary between the institutions, but I can tell you a little bit about what we offer at KGI, and perhaps that's information that you can use if you're looking at another institution to start asking them questions about their financial aid offerings as well. So in general, the U.S. offers a number of graduate programs for students interested in biotechnology, whether you're interested in doing research at one of the large biotech companies, such as Roche, Regeneron, Pfizer, or Eli Lilly, to name a few of the big players, or if you're interested in perhaps even working, at a smaller biotech startup or a smaller consulting firm. The U.S. has really great programs for students who are interested in doing that. And these programs, I'll talk about biotech programs first. These programs are recruiting students from a number of majors. I know at KGI we look at students who are coming from biology, any type of biological sciences background, life science backgrounds, chemistry. We're also looking at biotech. Some universities have biotech as an undergraduate major. We're looking at biochemical students, biomedical engineering, electrical engineering for students who are interested in medical devices and diagnostics, as well as pharmacy studies. Again, some undergraduate institutions do have programs in pharmacy studies for undergrads. So those are generally the types of majors that universities are looking to recruit from. However, that's not an inclusive list. I know some other students perhaps coming from microbiology, neuroscience, as well as pre-medical professional tracks may also be looking for graduate programs in biotechnology. But really the important component to really look at is to see and to ensure that you've met all of the science undergrad courses. Some programs may have very specific course requirements that they're looking for students to have, such as a semester or 2 semesters or more of organic chemistry. That's everyone's favorite, at least with the students that I talk to. They always dread that one. But it's really important to look at the course requirements and prerequisites for graduate programs, especially in advanced sciences, because you are continuing in graduate studies where you're going to be taking advanced scientific courses. It's important to make sure that you've mastered and attained those undergraduate courses. Now, some programs also have minimum grade requirements for those undergraduate courses. So if there's a program that you're contemplating looking and applying to at a graduate program, it's probably a good idea to take a look at their science courses admissions requirements and see if they have minimum grade requirements for undergraduate science courses. Now, that's not something that we require here at the Keck Graduate Institute, but I do know of other universities here in the U.S. Who do have specific grade requirements for undergraduate courses. So it's important to take a look at those as well. Now, talking a little bit about the admissions process, kind of stepping back a little bit. I work with students quite often who are looking at multiple graduate programs, and that's really encouraged today to really have a short list of programs that you're interested in applying to. And what I advise students on doing is really look at programs who are going to be able to meet your academic as well as professional requirements. So if you're interested in doing an internship, if you're interested in having networking opportunities with industry professionals, getting lab time with your faculty members and research opportunities, and really look at programs that they're going to offer those for you. Again, there's a number of programs out there these days, and it's really important to pick ones that are going to really meet your academic and professional goals that you have set for yourself. So really take a look at the programs and make sure that they're offering not just in classroom courses that you're looking for, but also looking for opportunities that exist outside of the classroom, such as networking and professional opportunities like internships. Another really important thing to consider, when you're looking at multiple programs, is financial aid. Graduate study, the programs can vary greatly in terms of cost, and depending on your financial situation, you may have a larger need for financial assistance than some other students. So it's important to take a look at the graduate programs too before applying to see what kind of financial aid and financial assistance they offer, whether that's in the form of scholarships, fellowships, or loans. There's a number of different opportunities, and we can talk a little bit more about those in depth a little bit later in the presentation. So far we've kind of talked in general about majors where students are applying from for graduate programs. In terms of course requirements, and these are all things to kind of consider before even applying. Again, networking and professional opportunities, making sure that if you have a list of graduate programs that you're picking ones that are going to that are going to meet your goals for after graduation. So talking a little bit now as we're getting into the application process, each university is going to offer its own separate application. So if you're looking at a variety of multiple institutions, you should expect to have to pay multiple application fees unless they offer a special fee waiver, which some of them do. So again, if you have financial concerns, it might be worthwhile to ask the institution if they do offer fee waivers. And sometimes what happens is they'll actually reimburse the student after they apply. So these are all, again, questions to ask before the application process. So when you're applying, you can definitely expect to pay multiple application fees. And again, each university is going to have its own separate set of requirements. But in general, you'll be required to fill out an admissions application as well as a transcript. A school is going to want to have an official transcript from any other institutions that you may have attended, both as an undergrad or even as a graduate student. If you've done graduate studies somewhere else, they will want to have that information. And it needs to be an official transcript, so it needs to come directly from the institution to the university that you're applying to. They're also going to ask for letters of recommendation. Generally, they're going to ask for 2, and usually they want them to come from a faculty member in the sciences if you're applying for a science STEM program. And then the second one, it varies. Sometimes students will have another faculty member. Sometimes they'll have an advisor or an employer, or if the student has done an internship somewhere, they'll actually ask their employer to write that letter of recommendation for them. So far you have the admissions application, academic transcripts, as well as letters of recommendation. Other admissions requirements are going to be a personal statement. And again, these are going to vary depending on the program that you're going to apply to. But in general, they're going to ask you to give them some information about why you're interested in applying to their graduate program and what you hope to do with your skills after graduation. They're also going to, for international students, they're also going to look for a visa. You need to have a passport, and you're also going to have to prove your ability to pay. So typically, once you start the application process, you'll be assigned an international admissions counselor who will work with you on getting a passport if you already don't have one. They'll give you information about applying for a visa, which you need to study here in the U.S. And it also will give you documentation and information about the financial documents that is going to be required as part of your admissions process, basically showing how you're going to pay for the program. So that's all of the information that you're going to have to, documentation that you're going to be required to complete. Some other programs may also offer, in addition to, there also is testing. So some programs will require a GRE or a GMAT or the MCAT if you've taken the medical school application or test. They'll accept that as well. So be sure to see what kind of testing requirements they have for graduate school, as well as English language proficiency. Now there's a number of tests out there for students these days, both paper and internet-based. And again, some schools are going to have score requirements, so be sure to check what those are as well prior to taking the exam. And these are also with the graduate school testing, such as the GRE, the GMAT, as well as English language proficiency exams. These are also tests that you can take multiple times. If you're unhappy with your initial score, you can take these tests again and let the school know that you are taking them again, so they can make a note in your file. So And other admissions requirements might be an admissions interview. We do have admissions interviews here at KGI, and really that's an opportunity for our admissions counselors to speak with the students directly, to really get a personal feel for their interest in our programs, and to be able to answer any questions that they might have and offer up advice and assistance during the admissions process. So just to recap, for admissions, you'll have to complete admissions application, send over any official transcripts, letters of recommendation, a personal statement about your intent and why you'd like to study at their institution, graduate exam testing, GRE, GMAT, or MCAT test scores, English language proficiency exams, and then any type of miscellaneous documentation or information that that particular institution might be looking for, such as an admissions interview. So once you have all of this information submitted, and just so you know, it's okay if you don't have all the information to submit at once. If a lot of our students, what they'll do is they'll start the application and then send us documentation as it becomes available. And I just want to let you know that that is okay to do. You can send it along as, for example, as test scores come in, you can send it. But it's really important to keep in mind any type of admissions application deadlines. Those will be posted at pretty much everywhere, letting you know when you are required to get your information in. So for our international students, I always encourage them to try to start the admissions process as soon as possible, giving them enough time to apply for a passport if needed, as well as the visa. So admissions application deadlines, it's important to keep those in mind. And in general, students can expect to receive an admissions decision, as soon as a few weeks, or it could take a few months, depending on the size of the institution and how many admissions applications they have to process. So that's something else to maybe keep in mind when you're looking at graduate programs is, am I going to find out my admissions decision quickly? Or is it going to be, late in the semester? And why this is important is, for visa reasons, as well as for planning for financial aid. These are all things to keep in mind, because you will need to know your enrollment, and you'll need to indicate that to the consulate before being able to enroll in the programs and get a visa. So we've covered admissions, applications, materials, things to keep in mind before looking at programs. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of once you're in the program, both within biotechnology and life sciences. What can students expect in terms of curriculums as well as outcomes. So curriculum, again, it's going to vary depending on the institution. But some might be some programs in biotech might be very research focused, meaning students are spending a lot of time on the bench. They're working in professors' labs, and they're working either on their own research, but most likely probably on research of either the faculty member or some type of research institute that's affiliated with the graduate program. Some other programs, like KGI, we're research focused, but we also focus on giving students in the life sciences business skills, for students that maybe are interested in leadership positions within the biotech industry. So if you're not sure if research is maybe your lifelong calling, some programs such as ours, we offer students the opportunity to pursue careers in consulting, project management, as well as other variety of leadership positions, as well as giving students the skills to become an entrepreneur and start their own biotech startups. So biotech programs, they can be research focused, and then even within that larger umbrella of research programs, some universities specialize in various types of research. So again, if you have a particular interest, maybe microbiology, cancer, food biology, maybe really try to narrow down your choice of a program based on institutions that offer graduate programs in these particular research areas. So we've talked quite a bit about biotechnology. I'll talk a little bit too about pharmacy. We do offer a pharmacy program here at KGI, and unfortunately, it's a newer program, so it's not open to international students yet. But there are a number of pharmacy schools in the U.S. That are accepting international students' applications. So there are opportunities in that field. And again, the admissions requirements for these programs are going to be pretty similar. Make sure you look at scientific requirements, science undergrad courses, minimum GPAs, minimum test scores. And the same is true too for medical school, if that's what your career path is leading you to. Now, med school is going to be a little bit different, just because it's a 4-year program versus a 1- or 2-year program, which biotech and life science programs are. Pharmacy as well is going to be a 4-year program, so these are much more involved. So typically, students that are applying to these programs are very serious, and they're ready to make the 4-year plus commitment to these particular fields. Other things to kind of keep in mind and to look at, once you're in the program, is really take advantage of internship opportunities. Just because you're scientists and you're in the biotech field, it does not mean that opportunities don't come up due to networking. So it's really important to put your name and your face out there. And, attend events that the graduate schools might be hosting. Industry networking opportunities. If they have an industry speaker seminar series, attend those. To really kind of get a really good understanding for what the biotech and life sciences industry, as well as the pharmacy industry, is. They're very large, profitable industries. There's a lot of opportunities and different career opportunities for students. So the more you can learn about the different opportunities and the different types of research and what's happening, the more knowledgeable and the better equipped you are to find a successful and satisfying career. Other things that we can talk about too is job opportunities afterwards. So quite often some students after graduate programs, they'll be faced with a decision of whether they want to enter industry. That means go and get a job directly and start working, or if they want to stay and continue to stay in higher ed and continue to pursue a postdoc program or a PhD program. And this is, there's no right or wrong answer. It's based on personal preference. Some students would like to continue, advanced studies, and they found a topic that they're really interested in researching more about, so they'll enroll into a PhD program, or maybe the institution that they're studying in has an opportunity to continue on for a PhD in the graduate program that they're in. That's an opportunity for students. And I just as a piece of advice, just based from my experience, many students, domestic and international, feel that they need to have a PhD program or a PhD degree in order to be, successful and land a job here in the biotech industry. And I just want you to know that may have been the case, a decade or two ago. But that is not the case anymore. the times have changed, and students now out of graduate school are perfectly knowledgeable and qualified to enter research positions and other career positions within industry without having to stay for the PhD. But again, if you are interested in a PhD, then by all means, I encourage you to do it. But if you are feeling that if you are feeling that you would just want to do a PhD because you feel it's the only way that you can get ahead career-wise, I just want to let you know that that is not the case. There's many students that are entering the biotech industry these days in very successful positions that do not have a PhD. So a PhD is kind of no longer the absolute norm for finding positions in the biotech industry. But again, some students really just have a particular topic that they're interested in, so they want to continue those studies, and that's great. Talking a little bit about, well, we've talked about quite a bit, but talking a little bit about med school admissions. KGI is not a medical school, so unfortunately I don't work with these students directly, but I do work with students who are considering both graduate school and medical school. Some students are not sure what they'd like to pursue, so they apply to both just in case they don't get into medical school. Medical school admissions here in the United States is highly selective and highly competitive. So many students will apply to as many as 15 to 20 different medical schools with the hopes that their admissions application is accepted to at least a few of those. So it's quite often for students to take a year off before applying to medical school and either enroll in a graduate program or to enroll in a certificate program, which is becoming kind of more popular these days in the U.S., and that's called a post-baccalaureate pre-medical certificate program, or a post-bac program for short. That's quite often how they're referred to. And these are basically one-year programs that allow students to increase the competitiveness of their admissions application through advanced science courses, through assistance with taking or retaking the MCAT, as well as offering opportunities for professional development and professional networking with different graduate schools. That's what our post-bac program here at KGI offers. We bring in different professionals in medical schools to speak with the students about what they're looking for. We help students practice their med school interviewing skills. That's generally a requirement, as well as just helping them put together their admissions application to medical school. So again, there's med school admissions is highly competitive, and it's quite often normal these days for students to take a year off to do a graduate program, to do a year of research somewhere, as well as to do a post-bac program to increase their chances of being accepted to medical school. Now, for pharmacy school, students typically don't take a year off. They will apply for admission after completing an undergraduate program, and then directly enroll once accepted into there. And for pharmacy, for students that are interested in pharmacy, it's quite often here in the U.S., students have the idea that they'll just be working at a convenience store or a grocery store, which has a pharmacy located within it. They don't realize all of the potential opportunities that exist for pharmacists, both within private and nonprofit settings, such as hospitals, specialized pharmacies, long-term care facilities, short-term care facilities, as well as research. The biotech industry, has a huge component within pharmaceuticals. So some pharmacy students will also cross over into the biotech industry. If you have any questions, I'm happy to provide my email address. It's R, the letter R, CLEMENT and again, you can also get this information from your Education USA advisor. They have my email address, but please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, particularly maybe on a topic you'd like me to elaborate more on, or maybe something that we didn't get to talk about today because we were talking about such large topics. But thank you very much, and best of luck.